NamRA Kachenu, 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 NamRA Kachenu. We are
NamRA, serving with passion.
Hello and welcome to this edition of NamRA Kachenu, where we focus on tax, customs and excise matters. I'm Elise Dentlinger and I'm delighted to be your host for the next half hour. In today's episode, NamRA commemorates Suicide Prevention Month. Startup Businesses talks about tax implications, all that and more coming up shortly. Suicide has become a critical issue in Namibia. In recognition of September as Suicide Prevention Month, several leaders at NamRA have taken the time to reflect and share messages of hope with staff and the public who may be facing tough times and feeling that there are no options. Remember, you are not alone. Speak up and save a life.
At this juncture, I encourage the members of public, those who have suicidal thought, just to encourage them to seek professional assistance or to reach out to friends, to reach out to family members and spiritual leaders. I also want to encourage them and that suicide is not always the last option, and encourage them to remain hopeful, to remain prayerful, and also faithful that it will be over soon. Thank you.
Changing the narrative on suicide. The call to action being start the conversation. Indeed, start the conversation so that those around you get to appreciate what you're going through. By having this conversation, chances are there could be people around you who would be able to assist.
As part of our management commitment to our employees, we have committed the month of September to sharing messages on suicide prevention through our senior leadership team, as they will be sharing messages in video format on suicide prevention. And I'm sure that our colleagues can attest because we've already started sharing these messages.
You matter!
NamRA representatives attended the third edition of the Startup Success Series by the Namibia Business Angel Network. The event, themed Navigating Bureaucracy, Streamlining Administrative Processes for Startup Success, brought together entrepreneurs, industry experts, and government representatives to explore strategies for overcoming bureaucratic hurdles in Namibia's startup ecosystem.
I think you guys are privileged that you have access to so much information, yet you are also challenged because the information can be tainted or tampered with, or it can be an overload. It confuses people sometimes. So I think you need to find that middle ground to leverage and get the right information that can guide you.
But what are the issues? Because the issues, we see them. And it starts with where the process starts with us, is registration. The awareness for somebody to know that should I register or not? And maybe the question is, who should register? Everybody who's doing an economic activity, anything that you are trading, you should register. Before we even get to the question as who's going to pay tax, because paying tax becomes a function of what this economic activity is generating you. But before we can come to that, and for you to even be able to confidently tell us that because of the economic activities that I'm doing right now, I'm below the threshold. It's only after you have registered that we would then be able to determine that you're actually below the threshold.
We have a very high turnover number of the stock, the audit inventory in terms of the refunds, and Stephen has alluded to this earlier on as well. What we are currently doing is that we are streamlining our process as to the turnaround times of the refund audits to reduce the stock inventories, but also building the risk model criteria in the system so that not every single return that is having a credit is flagged, but only those really high risk area ones are flagged for an audit.
After the break, we will be joined by Mrs. Sofia van der Westhuizen, Supervisor, NamRA Call Center. Welcome back, and we are now joined by Mrs. Sofia van der Westhuizen, Supervisor at NamRA Call Center. Sofia, a warm welcome to NamRA Kachenu.
Thank you so much.
So Sofia, tell us a little bit about yourself and also introduce yourself to our audience.
I'm Sofia van der Westhuizen. I'm from the dusty streets of Katutura, namely Tamara bus stop. That area, that's where I'm coming from. I'm currently the call center supervisor. I'm starting a new system with the call center.
So Ms. Sofia, it has been now over 9 months since you have joined the NamRA family. Can you give us a brief overview about your responsibilities at the call center and how has your journey been thus far?
My journey has been great, but the challenge is very big. The mission or the task is quite a big thing, serving the whole nation, the taxpayers, the traders, as well as the stakeholders.
Yes.
It's a big challenge. With a new system, we are still trying to get our feet on how we want to serve the best to the nation.
Yeah, that's good. So the NamRA call center is just more than a helpline. Beyond answering clients' calls, what additional service does the center offer that can be resolved like instantly?
We can help you instantly with your submissions. I do understand that some people still don't know how to do the submissions, how to do the registrations, how to change their passwords and so on. So that's what our call center is helping for. As we are just a helpline, we also try to connect the rest of NamRA with the taxpayer or the trader. That is what we are working on. We send through queries and then make sure that we get the answers for the taxpayer so that they do not call around for all these answers.
Answers, yes. So since the launch of NamRA's new number in system in March 2024, how has the call volumes been, and also what measures have you implemented to ensure calls are effectively managed?
The calls have tripled. It's amazing how from around about 4,000 calls, our calls have exceeded 16,000 now. It's quite challenging to get to answer all these calls, but what we have made sure is that all our calls, we have scheduled our agents to be optimal in answering the calls. We have ensured, we have also tried to do more tax education through our other departments, like putting on videos and so on, to show how the submissions are done, to explain some steps of the submissions and so on, so that the tax callers don't call us for those basic support.
So the call center comes with its challenges, like you've just explained. What has been some of the more significant challenges that you had facing this role?
The challenges that we have with our taxpayers is that sometimes they call our call center and they don't have all the details that they need to give us. We also have the challenge where they want a third party to inquire on behalf of them, which is not allowed. NamRA is not allowed to give any info to a third party, which our taxpayers should understand that it's for their protection. The third one is that we have realized with our ITAS system, the people put on an email address of an employer. And when they move from this employer, this email is not changed, and therefore they would not be, or they struggle to change their passwords. So that challenge is quite a big challenge, and therefore we also urge people to use their personal emails when they are registering on the ITAS system.
Okay, so what initiatives have been undertaken to raise public awareness about the call center's contact number, and particularly for those who may not be able to visit our office in person?
We have advertised this number in the newspapers. It's on all our social pages. It's also in all our communication that is sent out from NamRA. That is what we have done thus far.
So as we wrap up, any final words that you want to give to our audience out there?
I would like to urge the taxpayers to please call the call center before visiting our offices to make sure which documents to take along. This is to make it easier for you and that you are not sent back and forth to our offices. Call center is there to support you with the basics, your submissions, your statuses, your refund amounts. But please also make sure that you do have all your details when calling us.
Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Well, and that was Ms. Sofia van der Westhuizen, supervisor of our call center here at NamRA. We will be right back after this. In our next segment, we will focus on how to obtain taxpayer transactions, running balances and statements.
Today, my name is Chilavera Asa. I'm going to take you through on how to obtain taxpayer statements, running balance and transactions on ITAS portal. Log in on ITAS portal for transactions. Step 2, go to the transaction tab. Step 3, click on my transactions to view transactions on the account. Step 4, select the tax type. Step 5, click on the search. Step 6, click on export to download. For running balance, step 1, you click on the transaction tab and then select the running balance. Step 2, select the tax type. Step 3, click on generate. Step 4, click on export to download. For taxpayer statement, click on the transaction tab and select taxpayer statement. Step 2, click on generate. Step 3, select tax type. Step 4, click on balance details. Step 5, to generate the statement, click on the back button. Step 6, click on export, and the statement can be found on the download folder. Thank you for listening.
Here are the trivia of duties.
Did you know? Stamp duties is duty levied on the legal recognition of certain documents. However, it varies depending on the type of document.
Do you need to make a payment for tax debt? Here are the available options for payment.
My name is Angela Kamui, Senior Revenue Treasury Officer at NamRA. I'm going to take you through the process of making payments to our NamRA offices. We have 4 modes of payments which are acceptable at our offices, which are direct deposits, cash payments, electronic fund transfers, and speed points machines. When making electronic fund transfers, we have 2 accounts available for our taxpayers. which is a receiver of revenue, account 165001, and the VAT dedicated account 165060. When making a direct deposit, our taxpayers need to fill this deposit slip at their commercial bank. You need to have your TIN with you. The TIN consists of eight characters, and then you should also know the period that you are making the payment for. When making an electronic fund transfer for your penalty or interest liability due to NamRA, you use the EFT referencing example as shown on the screen. It also has 19 characters, but on the text type and text period, you put 999, indicating that the payment is account payment. When making electronic fund transfers, EFT referencing example is shown on the screen, which comprises of 19 characters. The taxpayer reference number comprises of 5 parameters, which are as follows. 1. Represent the payment method, in this case, EFT payment. 06. Office of registration or your return office. The 8th character represents your tax identification number. 14 is tax type, in this case, employees tax. 2018-06 is the tax period for which the payment is meant for.
In our previous episode, we asked, how much did NamRA collect between the 1st of April 2024 and 31st of July 2024? The answer is 34.4 billion. Here's a question for this episode. What is a NamRA call center number and when was it launched? Kindly email your answer to NamRA Kachenu at namra.org.na. The due date for submission is the 26th of September 2024. The winner will be announced in the next episode.
And with that, we wrap up this edition of NamRA Kachenu. We hope the information shared has been both valuable and insightful. Join us again in 2 weeks for the latest updates. Until then, stay informed, stay compliant, and goodbye.